Hello, and welcome back to Cozy with Chelsea, a podcast to nourish your mind, body, and soul. I am Chelsea, your host, and today I want this episode to be your low battery guide to self-care. So I really want to just touch on if you're feeling very low energy, if you've had a lot going on, and you've been lacking on the self-care a little bit and you don't know where to start, this is where to start. I also want to say that if you're feeling low energy or you just haven't been able to incorporate self-care in as much as you'd like to, it's okay. It's not something wrong with you. It's life. It happens. But I also want to talk about what can we incorporate that is realistic, that can get us a little bit back into flow, into harmony, into balance with ourselves. And for today's episode, I'm also not going to make it too long because I want this to be manageable, right? And everything we're going to talk about today are just little micro acts of self-care, because really what we're looking for here, instead of, overhauling our life, it's just a little bit of relief, really. If we're in a place where we are feeling paralyzed, we are feeling like we can't get out for our walks, we can't get up on time, we can't eat the way that we want to be eating, we are feeling ourselves tense all the time and we're quicker to snap, these are all indicators that we are exhausted, our battery is low, and we just need a little bit of relief, a little bit of relaxation to get us back into a place where we can have the capacity for more. So I'm just going to go ahead and give a few tips, some things that you can actually incorporate today or in the next few days. And the first thing I want to do is kind of touch on movement. And I think a lot of times when we're in a state where we don't have energy, we're kind of wishing that we could go out for a run or go out for a hike. And this was actually a mistake I made last year. There was a period of time where I was really stressed out. And so I told myself, okay, I'm really stressed out and exhausted and I'm on the edge of burnout, but I'm going to go work out every single morning because I thought it would be helpful. And usually movement and exercise is helpful for me. But because I was on the edge of burnout, it was just exhausting me more. So before we're going into like a whole new workout plan, and even before something like a yoga class, well, yoga can be very hard, but even before a restorative yoga class, what I would invite you to do is a floor reset. So this takes 2 to 3 minutes. And all you have to do is lie down. Doesn't that sound nice? So just find a wall, lie down, and put your legs up on the wall. And that is it. And this is actually really good for the lymphatic system. While you're doing it, you could put a hand on your chest, other hand on your belly. Just notice yourself, breathe. You don't even have to try to do breath work here. We're just kind of moving our body, stretching it out a little bit, getting the blood flowing, and we're still laying down. So if you could do something like that and just let the floor hold you, that's it. That's all you got to do. Another piece here too is like getting ready and feeling good about yourself. So obviously, if you can take a shower, take a bath, great. Those things will always make you feel better. But you could also even just have a washcloth and put it on your neck. Like if you can get a warm, hot washcloth, put it on your neck, on your eyes, on your face for a minute, for 60 seconds. Just kind of have like a temperature change to calm and relax the nervous system. So you could either do like a warm washcloth. You could also go with cool water depending on, the weather, your temperament, your mood. So with cold water, you could do the same thing. You could have cold washcloth. You could also just have a glass of cool water and take a sip of it. I know that sounds so simple, but we don't need to do like an ice bath or an ice bowl to stick your face in. We're just trying to get a little bit of a temperature change here and a little tiny micro moment with yourself. So you could just take a sip of water, notice it, breathe while you're doing it, exhale. So the idea here is we're giving your body a clear signal that you're safe enough to start downshifting. And if you don't feel like putting on like a whole new outfit or getting ready, What we could do instead is have like a threshold, right? Like a small threshold that can indicate to your body that you're crossing over from exhaustion into relaxation, into relief. And that could be something like socks, like just putting on a fresh pair of socks. It could be putting on like a really comfortable hoodie, just something that you can use as an intention to shift over energetically and use that piece of clothing as a way to do that. Now, if we're taking this sip of water and that's helping, or if you're feeling unable to get enough water, you're not getting enough hydration, what really helps me is to have a cup that I enjoy using. I'm telling you, I, for the longest time, just was constantly dehydrated. And I ended up buying like a pink hydro flask that has a straw and a handle on it, and it fits in every cup holder. Like, these things are important. If you can find a cup that works in every setting you're in, that makes you feel a little bit better, trust me, you will be drinking more water. And if you're feeling like you really want to go for it, then you could add some fresh lemon. You could put some salt in there. You could put an electrolyte mix, anything to kind of spruce it up and make you feel a little bit better, a little bit of self-care there. And then if you have the energy, we can do a mini body scan. So we don't need to go into full meditation visualization. We can do 30 seconds, scan your body, notice where you're holding tension, and then ask yourself if you can just soften by like 2%. If you can take your jaw, relax it a little bit. If you notice you're clenching your hands or your legs are really tight, shoulders back, any of that. If you can just notice, where am I holding some tension? And then just breathe into a little bit and allow yourself to soften, even if it's by 2%. Now, I always talk about the home, and not just the home, but your environment, because this is really important, especially if you're feeling exhausted. And if you've been busy, if you've been doing too much, it is very possible that your house might be a little cluttered or disorganized or any of that. And I'm not asking you to redo the entire house. And I talked about this actually in the podcast episode, the 1 drawer rule. But we could take that even smaller and make it like, I don't even know what to call it. What's smaller than a drawer? Like a 1 item rule. I don't know. something that's really tiny. Like if it's just a small surface or something that you look at the most often, if it's the trash, if it's the dishes, even if it's just putting 1 dish in the dishwasher, if we can just kind of reduce the sensory friction around you in your environment, I'm telling you, it will really help. And then if we're also talking about the environment, we need to do an audit of the lights in our house. Turn off the big light. Instead, turn on the lamp, light a candle, have the fireplace going, put the fireplace on your TV. If we can have some sort of cozy lights, this will help ease the body as well. And same thing goes for sound. My husband, he always turns on the bathroom fan, and I understand there's a purpose for it, but it's often on when I go in there, and it's just like immediately agitating. Again, for any of my highly sensitive people, if you're noticing any sounds, go ahead and turn those off. Reduce any sound that's agitating, and we could add in something relaxing. Like even if it's just playing some morning jazz music or some lo-fi music or brown noise or the sounds of rain. Again, like this is really important. These are small things you can incorporate to kind of calm down the nervous system and allow your body to enter into relaxation. Now, let's also talk about food. This is not like I should be eating this way. I need to eat perfectly. I need to fix all of this. No, we just need to think about how can you best nourish yourself in the state that you're in. This was a really helpful shift for me because I often found myself wanting to have like the perfect meal prepped week. And instead, once I started thinking about, okay, is what I'm eating nourishing me? Is it serving me in the way that I need it to in this moment? Because that will change. That will change based off your mood, based off how much you moved that day. I mean, there's so many factors here. So if we can kind of tap into your intuition a little bit, identify what is going to nourish you. Like sometimes for me, that is just a bowl of pasta and olive oil. It doesn't need to be like this 5-course meal that has all fresh whole foods. It could just be something easy, doable, attainable that is going to make you feel a little bit better. I also love to incorporate drinks. It could be broth. I do make like I think it's called a golden latte sometimes, where I'll steam some almond milk or whatever milk of your choice, put in some turmeric, some cinnamon, some cayenne, a little sweetener. I'll do like maple syrup or honey, and just something, cozy and warm. Now, I always talk about journaling too, just to kind of have some mental stillness. So what I like to do is journal first thing in the morning, and I just have stream of consciousness writing, where I'm just writing anything that comes to mind and kind of dumping it out. I will say that takes a bit of time. So what you could do if we're low on energy, you could attempt to journal. Maybe it's for a smaller amount of time. Something that might be helpful, that's very easy to do, is instead of journaling, just have a voice note where you're recording 30 seconds talking into it, and that can kind of just help get some of that out. I honestly love voice memos with my friends for this reason, because you just can't convey everything in text anyways, but I feel like I can like work through what's going on through a voice memo. So even if it's just a voice memo only to yourself, just kind of getting that mental chatter out into some sort of format might be really helpful for you. So again, short episode. This is just if you're feeling a little bit low energy, you want to incorporate something easy that can reduce the stress, reduce the friction, invite a little bit more warmth and coziness. And I know even in this episode, I mentioned a few different things. So pick one gentle thing. If you thought of something else to do through this episode, pick that and just let that be enough. And sometimes doing nothing is something. Sometimes it's just laying down. You don't have to earn rest. We need rest. Rest is part of a balanced life. So I am giving you permission to rest, but more importantly, give yourself permission to rest. All right, now I always end with what is making me cozy. And this might be a weird one, but what's making me cozy this week, and you know what, it ties into our episode a little bit, because it's actually watching Game of Thrones, because I started rewatching it with my husband. And while Game of Thrones is not the most relaxing show ever, I'm actually finding it a little bit less stressful to watch because I already know what's going to happen. So I think that's a little bit helpful. But we've been watching it a good amount before bed, but just like laying in bed, watching Game of Thrones. And maybe that's what you do. If that's something that's achievable, something cozy, you could put on the fireplace while watching Game of Thrones with some hot cocoa. That's pretty cozy. And maybe that will allow you to recharge that battery. Oh, and speaking of hot cocoa, I forgot to mention, today's episode is sponsored by Brew, and it's a hot cocoa drink, and I use it whenever I need to sleep. So this might also be helpful for you. If you're looking to have deeper sleep, Brew will certainly help with that. It's not actually hot cocoa, but you can make it like a hot cocoa. It's a powder, and I just mix it in with my almond milk. So I've mentioned it on the podcast before, but if you guys want to try that, I will include the link, and my code is Cozy with Chelsea for 15% off. Okay, well, everybody, take some time to rest. Incorporate a few micro acts of self-care so that we can bring a little bit more balance into our lives and recharge our batteries so we can take on more. Have a great week, everyone. Stay cozy. Talk to you next week. Bye.